Good afternoon, everybody. This is Filipino Life with an Expat. I'm Maylene, and this is my partner Jeff. So, I want to ask him because he has this two retirement visa from Mexico and the Philippines. So, I want to ask him what's the difference. So, first. What makes you what makes you decide to get a visa from Mexico? Okay, let's go to the regular visa first. Let's talk about the regular visa
In Mexico.
in Mexico. Yeah.
Why did I get one in Mexico?
Yes.
Well, the idea was to retire in Mexico, but the reason that came about was because years before I retired, I was looking for a place that would never snow, a country that would never snow, and I didn't want to stay in the States,
Okay.
because we all know what's happening in the States. But I looked up on the internet, always looking for what's the most economical place to, I'll get this, economic place to retire,
Okay.
and the other requirement was it could never snow there. I don't want any place where it's going to snow or get cold where I have to put on a coat. So after I searched all these places out, and I actually was going around on cruises, that's what got me into cruising all over the world. I went to many places all up and down the Western Hemisphere, even to Europe, to find a place. But after traveling and then deciding, I decided on 3 countries. Mexico.
Mexico has tropical weather.
It depends on where you're at. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's. I don't think there's places that freezes, you know. Mexico City's cold, where you need a coat in the winter, jacket. But if you go down farther south, and if you're not as high up in the elevation, it's much better. But I had Mexico, Panama, and the Philippines. So, after I traveled through Mexico, and after I spent a lot of time in Panama, as soon as I wanted to go to the Philippines, COVID hit.
Okay.
So I ended up staying in Mexico, and since COVID lasted for a long time, I was in Mexico for about a year.
So,
I decided to buy a place in Mexico, so I got the retirement visa there.
so which place in Mexico?
Puerto Vallarta.
Puerto Vallarta. Okay. So how
It's
much?
tropical. It's almost the same.
The
as
same in Philippines. So okay, let's talk about the regular visa. How much did you pay, or did you
Well,
did you get the regular visa first before the
well,
regular?
Well, they have just a tourist visa. You can go in and get
Tourist,
180 days, and that's what the original plan was. I was just going to go in, and every 180 days, I would just go back to the U.S. and come back, and it would restart. It's kind of like the Philippines, where you come here, they give you 30 days.
Okay.
Mexico, they'll give you 180 days free.
Free. Oh, okay.
But while I was there, they started cracking down on people that were living in Mexico and just traveling back and forth like that. They figured that if you were living here, you should get a permanent retirement visa or a temporary retirement visa. And so a lot of people that were going to the East Coast, like Cancun, they would only stamp their visa 14 days when they were living in Mexico, and then it would cause a lot of problems. So we heard about that, and so at that point, that's when I decided to get the retirement visa in Mexico, and I looked it up, and there was 2. You could get a temporary or a permanent. The temporary didn't seem like there was any benefit of it. You could get it; it would last for a year, and then you could have it renewed up to 4 years. After that, they would just turn it automatically, or maybe you had to pay a fee,
So
turn it
how
into a
much?
permanent.
Do you remember?
There's a fee that you pay. I don't think it's much more than $1,000, maybe $1,050, maybe not even that much, probably in the hundreds. You pay a fee, and there's a couple places like here. You go to 2 or 3 places to pay fees, and the requirements were you had to have a pension, but the pension was low. I don't think it was more than like $1,000. And then you had to show that you had $74,000 in a bank account or a brokerage firm that was readily available.
74,000.
74,000, yeah. But that was for the temporary.
Okay.
The thing was you had to renew it every year, so you still had to be there every year
Every
and
year.
renew it. And I didn't want to have a requirement that I had to be there at a certain time if I wanted to be going on cruises and stuff or traveling. I didn't want to have to be there every time that year. So I ended up doing the permanent. The permanent was a little more stringent.
Permanent visa.
Permanent visa. And the permanent visa, once they gave it to you, there was no more cost to it. So it didn't cost you anything after you paid the fee, and I think that was like $1,500. The problem with it was everything in Mexico is in Spanish, so you have to hire like a fixer, which was a group of foreigners that had made a company up that would help other people retiring in Mexico.
To understand the...
Yeah, they charged you a few $100s,
Okay.
and they did it. The requirements for a permanent visa were you had to have the temporary you had to have. That's right, you had to have a bit. You did have to have a retirement. That's the thing here is I'm getting mixed up between the Philippines. In Mexico, a temporary visa, you either had one of two things to do the temporary. You had to have a permanent retirement that paid you every month at least $4,300 or $4,400. I might be off on that. Per month.
Okay.
Or you had to have the $74,000 in the bank. Now they didn't take the money. You just had to prove that you had it. So you had
you have to show it.
You have to show that it's
show money in the Philippines.
Yeah, you have to go back 6 months in bank statements or brokerage statements that shows that you have that balance for the past 6 months.
Okay.
Now the difference between the temporary and the permanent was much different. In the permanent, you could if you wanted to do it by your pension or your retirement, you had to show that you were getting $7,400 per month.
That's too much.
Yeah. Or you had to show that you had two. Now these figures are higher. I just looked them up. They were a little less for me. But you can also do it by just showing your brokerage or your bank statement. But you had to show. Now it's $293,000 in your account.
So how about if you are a retiree already and then you don't have that 7,400 a month Social Security, so they're not allowed.
Well, if you had 74,000, that would do too. You see, it's one or the other. It's not both. So you either have the temporary. You have the 4,400 retirement monthly payment, or you have 74,000, and I might be off a few $100s on the retirement.
So, how many months before you decide to have your permanent visa?
Well, I was living in Mexico for a while, and then when COVID hit, and I went ahead and bought I was just planning on doing the tourist visa, and I bought a condo, but it was a pre-sale, and it's gonna take a year or maybe 2 years to get this thing done, because they just barely broke ground on it. It was like a 12-story condo. There was 3 towers. So anyway, I was there, and I thought, well, that's when I decided, I'll get the permanent visa. So I had a flight back to the U.S. because you have to apply for it at a consulate in your home country. You have to prove you're financially viable, and then they give you a stamp in your passport, and then you have 30 days to go to Mexico and finish it. So I went and did that. Came back to Mexico. I did that like in June, and then was waiting, and I didn't want to just wait. I like to travel. So by this time, COVID was just getting over, and the cruise ships started wanting to go, and so the cruise ships started cruising in. But because of COVID, nobody wanted to cruise, so they were given such good deals. I booked a cruise. I got on a cruise ship. I think it was like one of the last weeks of August, and I bounced around off different cruise ships on the East Coast and West Coast of the USA until June the next year, and then got off. And so I got the permanent visa just before I got on the cruise ships.
So it's just how many months do you think?
For what?
For the permanent visa that you had, it took a month. How many months? How many days?
You have to
many
go.
Days?
Well, you have to go get in your consulate in your country, apply for it. They verify that you've got the documents that show you have the financial means. And then you have to bring your, a passport. They check that, and also you have to have a background check. So you have to have a background check. Make sure you're not a criminal, and then you give them all this stuff, and then they check it all right there. You're not going to have to wait. You go in, you have an appointment, you go in, and maybe you're there. I mean, I was there for maybe 15 minutes before I walked in, and and they took the stuff, went in the back, and it was like 30 minutes later they came out and said, okay, here's your passport, and they put a sticker in there, and they says, okay, and they tell you have to get back to Mexico. You got 30 days to bring this to the immigration department and apply for your resident card. And so you have 30 days to go back to Mexico. You can go back into immigration whenever you want, but since I didn't speak Spanish and I didn't want to take the chance, I got in contact with these people.
So that resident card is already the SRRV, no, not SRRV.
No, sorry, it's permanent residence card. It says right on it, permanent resident visa. And you don't get the card when you go to your consulate. You go back to Mexico. You bring them your passport and the paperwork that came with it when you're at your consulate, and then they take it, and then you fill out a few more forms, and then you give it to immigration, and then within, I think it was like 2 weeks, they had us come back. Because I went in with a group of about 6 or 7 people that were doing the same thing, and so we all went in as a group, and we all went in and picked up our cards because the fixers.
So 1 month. Yeah. So it took you 1 month to go to the immigration, and then consulate or immigration, and then plus 2 weeks before you get finally.
So from your first start, when you first go to the consulate with all your stuff, and you get approved, you usually have your card within 6 weeks, because you pretty much have to go back to Mexico, and then but you can stay in Mexico. I think I don't think there's a limit. Maybe it's 6 months or maybe a year, maybe shorter. I don't know. I don't know. It's not like you have to go right to the immigration. No, you don't. You just have to get in Mexico to show that you're on your passport that you came into Mexico within 30 days.
30 days.
But you can wait longer to go to immigration.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes you can't get an appointment, because you have to have an appointment. But in my case, because of COVID, and there was nobody that was traveling and stuff, so there was openings.
So before you went to your cruise ship, after your visa application from Mexico, you got everything, and then you jumped to the cruise ship. Is that right? And then what makes you decide to have a visa in the Philippines? You have already the Mexican visa. So.
The first 12 weeks I got on a ship that went back and forth between LA and Puerto Vallarta. So the Carnival Panorama, and Carnival has many Filipina workers, men and women. And so just happened to have a cabin steward that was a Filipina, and I talked to her, and she was saying, that where she was from and stuff. So I was always asking her, well, where are you from? I got to get over there. I want to see it. And everybody was telling me where to go and stuff. And I said, but I think at first I was saying I was going to go over there, but then I never did because of COVID. And so it was like February. I think I was moved from the West Coast to the East Coast. I was on some cruise on the East Coast, going to the Caribbean, and I had another cabin steward that was a woman. And talked to her, and she said, "Oh, you can go now." I was telling her I wish I could go. She said, "You can go now. You can go now." So I had already booked cruises all the way through the end of June, through the beginning of June.
So. It's one of the reasons also why he decided to take visa from the Philippines, because he saw the beautiful faces of the Filipinas. So that's one of the reasons that let him decide to get visa in the Philippines. So first, you don't have to. I need to answer that. First, let's jump to the question about the visa in the Philippines. So, what did you do first to get the visa in the Philippines? Like, you come here, you landed in Cebu. I will not ask about that because we're talking about the visa. So, first, what did you do for getting the visa in the Philippines? The regular visa, like tourist visa first.
Well, let me just finish that. These people kept telling me that I really need to go, and they talked me into going to the Philippines.
Okay.
That's why I said I'm gonna have to go there just to check it out.
Okay.
And so the idea was, instead of going back to Mexico, where it was more expensive, and staying to wait for the condo to get done, I was gonna go to the Philippines and wait. That's why I went to the Philippines. Came here because I was just gonna wait until my condo was done and then move back to Mexico.
Okay.
And
So
but there was very many pretty women that were on the cruise ships. They're the most beautiful women on the cruise ships from the Philippines. Yes, very, very beautiful. So anyway, I had cruises booked all the way to the 1st of June, and So I couldn't get there any sooner, and I should have been watching more carefully, because when the cruise ended, and I would go off the cruises, I figured I'd just go book a cruise, book a flight
Flight to Philippines.
to get to the Philippines.
Okay.
And I did, and just one way was like $2,500. Like, well, you got to be kidding! I went back to the West Coast, and I was going up and down on the Carnival cruise ship again, back and forth from LA to Puerto Vallarta for about the last 4 weeks, and so I was trying to get a flight from LA to Cebu or Manila, and there's just no way I could get a good flight. So I just said, okay, well, so then I went out far enough to where I could get a flight that was right around 500 just to get over here. Okay. And so I came here, and then I think I came here. I messaged you. I met you online, talked to you, a couple other women, and you were going to show me Leyte, and then there was a woman that was going to show me around Cebu, and then there was going to woman show me around Dumaguete.
So okay, let's not talk about your women. I don't care about that. So let's talk about the visa. So the visa, what did you do first to get the visa in the Philippines? Like, you landed in the Philippines.
Yeah, the first thing, yeah.
How many days before you decided to get the visa? Because you need to do that, yeah?
Well, yeah, like I said, when I got here, I wasn't planning on staying. I thought I was just going to be here for.
It took how many days before you get the visa for you?
Well, I was here. I came in August. I think I got here like August 4th, and 1 week in Cebu, 1 week in Leyte, and then I went to Dumaguete. And that's where I had to renew my tourist visa. And I think I did that 2 or 3 times, so it must have been like in maybe February is when I heard about this SRV visa. I never searched it out, because it really wasn't my plan. But after I've been here for 6 months, I'm kind of going, my gosh, this is nice. I can get, by that time I had bought a motorcycle, a scooter, and was renting a place, and it was just felt like it was easy to go around and stuff. I thought, well, I'll stay here for a while, and so.
So how many months before you get the SRRV, permanent visa in the Philippines?
I think I went and applied for it probably 6 or 8 months after I was here.
6 months. So,
somewhere between 6 and 8 months.
So before that, you renew every month for your tourist visa?
Yeah, I think I did. I think the first time I did 2 months. It seems to me like there was a 4 month, but I don't think there was a 4 month.
Do you remember how much was it before? Maybe it's different price from before up to now, compared to.
I never worried about the price. I would just pay it. I never really cared about it. To me, it wasn't like pitching pennies. But you asked me you wanted to interview me about these visas, so I just looked it up, and it says that average. The difference between the tourist visa and the SR visa. The tourist visa is anywhere between $50 and $70 a month average, depending on whether you expedited thing, or depends on where you're at. Because a little different prices are. So I haven't been involved with it for so long. I don't know the exact number. Okay. But they're saying somewhere between 50 and 70. That sounds right. Okay. The SRRB, once you pay all the fees and everything, then to maintain it's $360 a year. A year. So that's $30 a month. $30. So you save a little bit there.
Okay. So how much all did you pay for the retirement SRRB?
Well, the SRB, there's different ways you can do it. Okay, if you're 50 and over, and you have a pension, and the pension, this is what it is.
Is there any requirements? How
pensions much? Here, there's very little. I think it's like 800, 900 for.
Oh, so you can get already the SRB.
Or to get a SRB, maybe it's maybe more than 1,000. Okay. I can't really get, it wasn't a thing. It was very easy to get, but the deal is, if you have a pension that shows you have a pension, okay, then you have to put $10,000 deposit down if you're 50 and over. If you don't have a pension, you got to double that. You can put $30,000.
Now.
Yeah. It used to be $10,000. When I did it, it was $10,000.
10,000. Okay, but now
they raised it to 15.
They raised it too.
And it's double that if you don't have a pension. And if you're between 40 and 49, you can retire too. You can come here and retire. But
that's the latest.
But it's double.
This is the latest.
That's $20,000 deposit, if you have a pension, and it's I think 40. If you don't have a pension, I mean it's just a lot more. That might
But
be.
this is the latest policy now.
Yeah, they just
before,
changed. They just
do
changed
you
it
know
a few
about
months
this
ago.
before that they can have SRRV during
No, I don't
the
think
time?
they did the 40-year one. I think that was added.
Yeah, I think
I
this
think
is
that's
just
been added the
new.
last year. Yeah.
This is just new.
You
So
before you had to be over 50.
yeah, we're talking about your experience about your SRRV. So you paid like
So I paid
10,000.
10,000. Yeah.
Okay, and then that's it. So you have to
Plus some
pay
fees.
plus-
You have to pay the fees that were involved, and then I hired the fixer. I wouldn't really say fixer. JRC
Yeah.
in Dumagetti did it for me.
Okay.
So they took care of everything for me. It was very easy. One thing I had done is
So it took how many months?
it didn't take. I don't know. It was like
Just
I had to give them my
wait.
passport. I think they had it for maybe a month.
Ah, okay. So in Dumaguete, you applied it in Dumaguete. Okay, so what are the benefits during your time? Okay, let's say your time when you get the SRRV. What are the benefits of having SRRV during the time, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that? So did explain to you what are your benefits about your SRRV? Like,
Well, the one benefit is you don't have to pay as much for your tourist fees. You have to go in every few months to redo your tourist visa. It's not that much to worry about. Between $30 and maybe $50 a month. You might save, but it's where you can go in and out of the country and without hassle. You just show them the SRV card, you come right in. I don't have to worry about having a return ticket if I want to do anything. So
how about the travel tax? Are you paying with the
you don't
travel
have to
tax?
pay travel tax.
If you have SRRV, you don't have to pay for the travel tax?
As long as you haven't been in the country for more than 1 year at a time.
Oh, okay.
So if you like we went to Singapore
Yeah, every year,
couple
so-
months and then we came back. So now I can as long as I travel before next January, I don't have to pay that
So-
travel tax.
Yeah, it's a good benefit also because you don't have to go through all those lines, that very long line. So SRRV, what are the benefits? What did the JRC promise you about your SRRV benefits? That
Well, the benefit that the reason why I got it was the $10,000 thing. $10,000. They said you can use it to put down towards a condo, And I said, well, what if I give you the $10,000 deposit? And I buy a condo later. Oh yeah, well we can just put your condo up as collateral, and then you get your $10,000 back.
okay? So
But it didn't work out that way because when I bought this condo,
okay,
and that's been a couple of years, a year and a half. What's that? 2.5 years.
2.5. Okay.
Almost, yeah, even more than 2.5. But I bought the
So it's 3
condo,
years
and the
now.
reason I bought this condo was like, well, I can get the $10,000 back now. So bought the condo, and they did not, give us the paperwork for over a year after.
Yeah.
We were supposed to. I assumed it from someone else in April. It was supposed to be done in July. It didn't. And then it was August, and they didn't turn it over to us until the end of November. And then we didn't get the paperwork for the title until November of last year, and we still haven't got all the documents. I don't think. I think we have them, but what happens? We went into JRC to get the
Yeah.
10,000 back.
Yeah.
And when
you
she
were,
said
you
it's
were
not-
excited that you can take
I'll
your
get my $10,000 back.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be kind of good. I can invest that into something else. So. But then she said, "Well, have you thought about this? It's going to cost. Your fees are going to go up because now there's fees in maintaining the condo as your deposit or your withhold your guarantee.
Also, there are some attorney's fee or something like that to process.
With processing fees or
Processing
whatever it is.
fees, that-
And when you think about it in my head, I thought, well, she was telling us a range, what it would cost, and I started thinking,
Double.
well, that's somewhere between 3 and 5 years. That would be equal to $10,000. So if I want my $10,000 back and I keep my condo for maybe 5 years, I've already paid $10,000 in fees just to have my $10,000 back. So it didn't make any sense to me. I said, okay, forget about it. I wish they would have told me that in the very beginning. I would have just said, okay, bye, this $10,000, you hold it. You'll get your $10,000 back if you sell the condo.
Mhm.
and that's good enough for me. You know, if they would have told me that at the beginning, it would have made, you know, I would have been, because we chased down getting this thing done.
Yeah.
We went back, I went back and forth from here to Dumaguete a number of times to sign paper to get this thing done. And it still took a year and a half.
Yeah.
And we did all that for pretty much nothing. So anyway, but the SRV, it makes it convenient. It's not that big a deal. If you don't have $10,000, you don't have to worry about it. Just do the tourist visa.
Tourist visa.
But if you have the $10,000 and you want to make it convenient, it is convenient. So if I pass away, you know, my daughter would get this. You know, she can do what she wants with it. If she sold it, the $10,000 would go to her.
So you will get the 10,000 back.
Yeah, if it's hers or mine, whoever it's inherited to.
Okay, you have the permanent visa in Mexico and you have the SRRV in the Philippines. So let's compare both. So what are the benefits? Do you have any benefits from Mexico that they told you about the?
Yeah, the benefits in Mexico, that's
visa?
permanent. They can't take it away. It's never going to cost me.
You don't have to pay anything?
Nope.
See,
now the bad thing about the Philippines, if I leave, I have to come back once a year. I have to give them my passport, and they're going to keep it for maybe 2 to 4 weeks and get it processed. And get a new SRRB card. I don't know how quick they can do it, but it seems like they told me it was going to maybe 2 to 4 weeks, maybe about a month. So every year, during April, I got to go in there and give them my SRV card and my passport. Then I'm stuck here until I get it back. I can't just go. So the problem is, and then also I pay $360 a year for it.
To renew.
And there'll be more fees too because to have it redone. I'm sure they're going to charge me some fees.
For sure.
And we just had it done. The problem with the last time is my passport was so full because I'd traveled so many times. My passport was completely full, and the cruise line said, "You better get a new passport because one of these times they're going to say you can't get on the cruise ship because you don't have any open pages. They want some open pages to put their stamp in there." So we went. It was actually they helped me get my passport because, in fact, if you ever do have to have a passport redone here, don't try to do it yourself. Go to JRC because I went to the United States government site and found out how to get my passport renewed. They said, okay, mail it to this address in Manila, and then Manila would send it to the U.S., get the new passport, send it back to Manila, and then they would send it to me. After 3 months, I kept saying something's wrong. So we contacted them, and then we couldn't get anything. They'd say, "Oh no, it's been sent. You just have to wait for it." "Oh, how long does it take?" "It doesn't take 2 months." So we went to JRC and I've told them our dilemma. And they're so good over there. I can't say enough about them. Even we went to not the one in Dumaguete, but the one in Cebu.
It was.
And they understood exactly. Well, we'll find out for you. They just took it right from there and said, okay, well, we'll do it. We'll get it. We'll get your SRV redone and everything. Because by this time it had been 3 months. And my SRV only had a couple days left on it before it had to be renewed. So
and they need your passport.
Yeah, they need my passport.
Renewal, yes.
So we ended up having to pay a fee for the delay, for the being, over the limit of it. So, but anyway, they fixed it and got it all taken care of. But it was just a pain in the butt. So, but anyway, kudos to JRC. For helping us out with that, and but like the SRV, if you have $10,000 laying around, do the SRV.
Yeah, it's worth it because 10,000 stay here for 20 years then.
Well, it's convenient. You pay less per year. You only have to do it once. The bad thing is they're gonna there's one time a year that they're gonna have your passport for maybe a month, and passport and you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, so the difference between the price of permanent visa in Mexico compared to Philippines, the Philippines is much higher, yeah?
Well, yeah, you have to pay the $10,000. Plus you have to pay $360 a year. In Mexico, you don't have to pay anything but the application fee and maybe the fixer's fee.
So it's more, and also you don't have to pay. It's already forever.
Yeah, it's forever. Yeah, I don't have to worry
compared
about
to Philippine SRRV that you have to renew yearly.
Yeah.
So that's the difference, guys. For
Like if I would move back to Mexico, I said I want to stay there. Well, I would be selling this place because I would sell it, or I don't know how you could do it if I said I wanted to keep ownership and just rent it out. Say you rent it out for me,
okay.
and I'm in Mexico, and then what happens when I have to get the SRV renewed? Maybe they can do it, while I'm in Mexico. I could just mail the passport over, but then that's really scary because you always wonder what could happen if you get your passport lost.
It's hard. It's hard to do like what you did. That you're kind of scared already because that was already 3 months that his passport. He was thinking it was lost. So actually, we were planning to already
Try
get
to get a new
one.
We were
So,
about ready
but
to go.
JRC helped a lot. So they help. It helps really a big help for the JRC.
Yeah, we found out what happened. They searched it out. Okay.
Where is it?
It came back. It came back to this condo, but they didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
No,
so
they needed to have somebody sign it. They couldn't.
hand it personally to you.
They won't just drop it off because it's a government.
It's a document.
You have to be signed by somebody. And
Yes.
They didn't. They had my phone number. They could have called. They never called.
Yes.
But nobody. They did. So they sent it back. So it was back in Manila. Just sitting
They
there.
never sent it.
Oh.
So that's the problem. That's
Yeah.
why it took long. And this one, this was discovered by JRC. Yeah.
JRC,
So the
okay.
JRC discovered what happened to
Yeah.
his passport.
When
So
we-
it's a good thing also for JRC.
Because we asked for it, we tracked it down with the delivery people, and they says, "Oh,
Yeah,
it was delivered.
Delivered.
It was delivered." No, it's not.
Because he was kind of worried about his passport. So guys, that's the difference between Mexico permanent visa and SRRV. So in the Philippines, it's a bit higher, but you are comfortable of doing everything. It's worth it for 10,000, yeah. Because if you stayed here for 40 years, it's worth it. And,
Yeah, well, it's really convenient because it's so nice. I come in, I don't have to have the onward ticket if I want it. Because if you
in
come,
your situation, because you always go out of the country, you always go for a vacation. So it's a big help also for you and of not paying the travel tax, yeah.
yeah.
So that's the difference, guys. And any few words to the viewers to let them know what other information you want to tell them.
No, I
about
think
visa and-
if anybody's been watching the news and they've seen what's happening in Mexico, you can say that I'm very happy I'm here in the Philippines and not in Puerto Vallarta for the last month or so because what's been happening over there. I don't know if I'll ever be going back to Mexico because right there in Puerto Vallarta, there's still a building there that's 90% finished that I own a condo in. So I might not be ever going back to there. So because Philippines is pretty much, I'm considering this my home. So it's much better. Philippines is a much better place to live than Mexico.
Okay.
The food's better in Mexico though.
Yeah, because he don't like the food in the Philippines. He don't like adobo, guys. The only thing that he don't want here because almost all of the food are sweet. So that's the thing that he doesn't want. But anyways, you can cook. We can cook without sugar. We can do that. It's just a small problem. So guys, that's it for today. Thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something in our video for today. So thank you for watching. See you in my next one. Say bye bye, honey. Bye
Bye, honey.